Hi. Good evening. Ito, naayos ko na yung volume, yung BGM para mas marinig niyo ako. Ewan ko kung bakit ang hirap i-adjust. Kasi kahit konting taas ko lang dito, mas malakas yung music kaysa sa boses ko. At naayos ko na rin, surprise, naayos ko din yung scaling nung, dito, nung Katawa Shoujo. Kasi dito kasi yung dito, um, desktop capture, ewan ko pa ang tawag dito. Basta yung dito lang, ito lang yung kina-capture. Ito kasi, ito yung buong game mismo. At, let's go. Pang hinihintay na natin. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Hinihintay na tayo ni Lilly-sama. Nakakita nyo ba? Nakakita nyo ba yan? Na-load na tayo. Adjust natin to. Ay lang. History. Hindi ko pala nabasa. I feel very tired this morning. Probably because yesterday itself was very tiring. On top of that, I woke up far earlier than necessary. Okay na. Bakla tayo. After saying hi to Shizune and Misha, I start doing the work as instructed from the board. It already looks like today is going to be heavy. Ay, sorry, hindi pala muna ako nag-summary. Sorry. Nakilala natin mga tao dito sa, dito yung nagkaroon si Hisaw. Di pala ako. Nasasanay ako kapag, Hisaw ng arrhythmia, napunta dito sa Yamako Academy. Nakilala yung mga tao. Si Misha Shizune, pangalan ng iba. Si Mutou, yung nurse. Yung librarian. Si Lilly-sama, tsaka si Hanako. At third day ata to, third day na tayo. Third day, Act 1 pa rin. Wala pa naman yung bagong animation, Act 1 pa rin to eh. After saying hi to Shizune and Misha, I start doing the work as instructed from the board. It already looks like today is going to be heavy. I don't have a problem with that now, though Shizune and Misha might jump on me trying to get an answer about whether or not I've decided to join the student council, even if just one day. On alert. Bakit napin? I wouldn't put it past them to try, and I don't have an answer for them if they do. So this situation is convenient for me. About 10 minutes into class, Hanako walks in and takes a seat, but no one looks at her. The teacher doesn't even comment on her lateness. Baka meron siyang leeway, kung ano man yun. Baka, shy type. Hindi, shy type na si Hanako, pero, ewan ko, baka, kaya siya napapayagan or kung ano man. Hindi ako sigurado. Isang route lang talaga yung napipili ko pa dito eh. Yung iba, tiningnan ko lang. Yung kay, yung kay Lilly-sama lang talaga yung, kinuha ko. Sorry ah. He does, bakit? May auto ba to? Naka-auto ka ba? Naka-auto ba to? So, auto mode delay. He does, however, stop us to say that we're going to break into groups again. I turn my head and see that Shizune and Misha are looking at me. Shizune gives me a smile that is equal parts cute and menacing. This is a smile that says, "We have you now. There is no escape." Hichan, it looks like we're together again. Yay, yay. Misha leans sideways while Shizune pushes her desk closer to mine. There really is no escape now unless I were to jump through the window. Jumping out the window isn't the best option, sadly. Tat. What's wrong, Hichan? Tat. Oh, Hichan, have you been thinking about what you said yesterday? You said that you would think about joining the student council, didn't you? It's okay, Hichan. We were talking about it after you left, and it would be rude to expect you to have already have an answer for us this early, right? Right? Ha 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 ha. I'm so happy you two are able to have a laugh at my expense, and even more pleased to know that you both know how crazy the two of you can be. Now that's over, Shizune snaps back into serious mode and smacks today's assignment with the back of her hand in an overly dramatic and important way. Pachak! When I actually look at the stuff, it's mostly just reading. In fact, there are only two problems. I also want to say something about how her rush to get started seems a bit much. Consider the small amount of work. In fact, Shizune probably knows how little there is and simply doesn't care. Yeah, it seems like the workload doesn't matter to her as much as the fact that there is work. The actual amount is unimportant. She approaches everything with the same level of ambition. Tsaka magpa-pile up lang yan ang magpa-pile up kapag di mo agad ginagawa. Ano bang sinasabi ko? Hindi ko rin naman ginagawa. While I'm reading, I let my eyes wander around the room and catch Hanako trying her hand at solving the problems. It looks like she's working alone. I can't remember seeing her work with other people before. Thinking back to how shy she is, it's understandable. Hey, that girl over there. Huh? Who? Hichan. Her Hanako over there. Does she always work alone? I think so, Hichan. Do you feel sorry for her because she's alone? I was just thinking that maybe she could work with us or something. No. I don't think that would be a good idea, Hichan. Why not? Hichan wouldn't get along with her. Why? Misha shuffles around the question, letting out a laugh that sounds very strange. It's nervous but still has the lifting up and down quality present in everything she says. Just because Hichan. By now, Shizune has noticed our conversation, and it makes me realize again how Misha has been signing everything she has been saying this whole time. Tat. What, Shichan? The friend of my enemy is my enemy? That sounds so harsh. I'm not going to say that. You said it anyway. I know, Hichan. It's fine if you ever hear. I wonder if this Misha's way of keeping these things fair, since without her, I wouldn't be able to understand a thing Shizune is saying, and vice versa. Is that also why she signs all the time? So there is never a conversation Shizune will be left out of? Ito din yung isa sa mga rason kung bakit hindi ko pinili. Para kasing, narito, uh, parang mas ano kay Misha kaysa kay Shizune. Pero syempre, good shit yung facial expression. Tsaka para silang hindi ko sila mapaghihiwalay si Shizune at si Misha. You know, parang ganun. Tat. Anyway, we should start on the problems now, Hichan. We finished with time to spare and I decided to ask if there are any alternatives to the cafeteria. As frankly, the food so far has been subpar. This sends Shizune and Misha arguing among themselves about their favorite restaurants. All of them are downtown, so I don't think we have time to go all the way there. And what about the bill? Are they arguing just for the fun of it? Maybe. They seem so distracted by it that they don't even notice the start of the actual lunch break. I look over my shoulder towards the back of the classroom. She seems to be studying her notes from the previous class. It's an odd sight. Everyone else in the class is busying themselves with the lunch break, socializing, gossiping, rearranging desks, the one with actual box lunches, baon, mixed in, chattering like everyone else, only interrupted by short bouts of eating. But when I watch Hanako, it feels that I'm the only one who can see her, almost as if she was invincible, sort of hiding in plain sight. Is she being bullied? Is she isolating herself from the rest of the class on her own accord? I see her look over her shoulder towards the classroom's rear door. Come to think to it, she hasn't turned the page since I started watching her. I guess she's waiting for someone. What to do? Um, para to kay Lilly-sama. 'Di ba ano siya? Kaibigan siya ni Lilly-sama. Siyempre, pag nag-ano ko kay Hanako, ma-open up sa akin si Lilly-sama. Mas magde-depend sa akin si Lilly-sama kasi friend ko yung friend niya. Tapos I can target Lilly-sama. That it's it is it is ano, it is a bit evil. Ano tawag dito? Ano tawag dito? Masamang masamang tawag dito. Masamang plan, pero I do like Lilly-sama, tsaka mabait kasi akong tao. I don't want somebody being left out. Ako yung mga bridge sa mga circles. Pero wala akong sariling bridge. Ay, wala akong sariling circle. Ako lang yung bridge. Go talk with Hanako. Tsaka yan pala. I still feel bad for making her run away yesterday. So I'd better say something. Tsaka yun. Hey there, Hanako. Hisaw. Well, at least she remembers my name. Hey, I just wanted to apologize for yesterday. I didn't mean to startle you or anything. I'm just new and I thought I should get to know my classmates. As Hanako looks up at me, I notice her scarring once more. It's a little bewildering that you can barely notice it if from across the room, but it's so noticeable from close up. That's okay. It, it was my fault. Nah, that wasn't anyone's fault. It's just kind of happened. So, are you waiting for someone? I saw you looking at the door before. Yes, Lily. Oh, sabi ko na. Or, natatandaan ko pa kasi yung mga dati ko pang run. Kailangan ko maano si Lilly-sama. Yes. Baka dahil alam ko, Lily kasi natatandaan ko, kailangan ko maging mabait kay Hanako para hindi ko makuha yung bad ending. Parang may natatandaan akong ganon. Or may bad ending ba si Lily? Hindi ko alam. Hindi ko maalala. Alam ko may bad ending tong mga to eh. Bahala na. Oh, you mean Lily, the blind girl? Hanako only nods in response, and I can't help but wonder if defining people through their disabilities is a fox pass of the worst kind or just normal here. I guess that explains why Lily took off after her yesterday. She seems like a nice girl. Are you two friends? Yes. As if hoping for Lily to appear, she checks over her shoulder again. I think I'm making her nervous again. I hope I'm not disturbing you right now. No, that's not it. It's just easier if Lily doesn't come here. Oh, because it's hard to get around the classroom? Not really. Hanako's gaze drifts past my shoulder and towards Shizune. Shizune? Hanako nods again. What about her? Don't they get along? Hanako shakes her head. Clearly this is something she doesn't want to talk about. It doesn't make a strange sort of sense, Shizune and Lily not getting along so well. It does make a strange sort of kasi deaf and blind. Oh. Communication between the two would be all but impossible. It's hard enough talking to Shizune through Misha even when you can see whose hands are talking. Hanako is so focused on Shizune that I am the first to notice Lily at the door. Oh, she's here now. Hanako spins around to confirm this. Upon seeing Lily, she moves quickly to the door. Lily-sama! Lily-sama! Lily. Hanako, good morning. Is the president here? Yes. Hanako glances over her shoulder at Shizune again, as if to confirm she can hear them even though that's impossible. I suppose we'd best be off then. Lily. 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 Baka Lily pala ang basa dito. Mali ako. Lily's sigh and tone of what seems like frustration makes me raise an eyebrow. I guess there's some kind of enmity between the two. It's intriguing, but it's not really something I'd ask about. I'm sure if they wanted me to know, then they would tell me. It's only my third day here. I should be trying to make friends, not finding out why people are enemies. Still, it's a little funny to find out that this school has little feuds, just like my old school. Even if people are more tolerant of others, they're still going to get on each other's nerves. Huh? Yun agad? Hey Lily, how are things? I'm sorry I made you run off yesterday. Oh my, is that Isaw? I didn't realize you were here. It seems that Lily is a little embarrassed about being so frank in front of me. Sorry Lily, I thought you realized. No, it's alright, Hanako. Hiso, please don't worry about yesterday. It was just a misunderstanding. If you say so, I'm still working this place out. Yeah, bago. Transfer student. Meron ako nung title, nasa akin pa yung ano. I'm the new person, the transfer student. Tawag doon. Shinri kung. Shinri. Tama ba? Well then, I think you'll find most people here are a lot more forgiving than elsewhere. If you are feeling a little confused, please don't be afraid to ask questions. Sure, I'll remember that. Lily. Lily gives a small nod of acknowledgement. I'm sorry, but we must be off. Hanako really doesn't look all that uncomfortable here right now, and Lily still seems a little embarrassed. I wonder if my apologies really made any impact. Mind if I accompany you too? I know I'm kinda pushing it, but Lily hums quietly, still smiling. Ho ho! Interested, my dear Lily-sama? I'm sure that we could accommodate you. Can't we, Hanako? She looks at Lily, then at me, and then she freezes wide-eyed. Sure. Well then, shall we go? I'm sure Lily wouldn't do this so easily if she saw how scared Hanako looks. But it can't be helped now. Declining after the deal is sealed would only cause confusion and problems. So we leave all three together. Li- Sorry, ano. Sorry, ano talito. Lumabas yung kapatid ko sa ano, sa kwarto. Lily walks beside the wall, letting her cane gently tap against it every now and then. Hanako comes along right beside her, so close that she is practically half hugging her as they go. Although it must make her walking that much harder, Lily takes it in stride. As we turned around, ako syempre, ano, sanay na si Lily. 3-2 baka 2 years na sila o 3 years na magkasama, di ba? As we turn around the corner of the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of a train. Hanako shrieks a little and my vision briefly goes black. Ouch. Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer-like green eyes looking up at me. They belong to the perpetrator, a short girl who bumped into me and has now fallen down onto the hallway floor. She wears a PE uniform and a very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during a lunch break. More striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have legs. Or she does, but they are not flesh and bone. Bone? And her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs and shins and feet made of some black metallic or plastic-like material, plastic-like material, black metallic or plastic-like material. Blah, 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 blah. Nabubulol ako. They look disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. A girl winces a little, rubs her nose, and jumps up. Oh man. Oh man. Hey, are you alright? I'm sorry about that. Really. I wasn't looking where I was going, and you just came out of nowhere. Sorry. Sorry. She's looking really apologetic in the hurt puppy way of looking apologetic. Huh? Hindi ko gets. I quickly forget about being angry or anything since hurt puppies are my weak spot. Hurt puppies. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Ouch. I say that, but there's a stinging pain growing in my chest, and I know that this is about the biggest possible danger for my condition. Don't overexert myself. Don't forget your medication, and most of all, don't get hit in the chest. I tried to rub my solar plexus. Ano yung solar plexus? Hindi ko rin alam. Hindi po ako nag-medic. Hindi ko po natatandaan yung buong katawan. Ang alam ko lang po, paa, ulo, balikat, paa. Hindi ko rin kabisado yun. To chase the pain away, holding my breath is an attempt to hear my heartbeat. Mamamatay ba ako? Or mahimatay? It seems normal. Hey, should I get a nurse? The worried, high-pitched voice of the girl snaps me out of it. I stare at her for a few seconds, dumbfounded, until I realize that I probably looked worse off than I really was, doubled over myself and looking all tense. Damn, I'm overly worried about my heart. No need, I'm fine. Managing to say something in response, I pull myself upright, feeling my sore ribs one last time and take a deep breath. She just knocked the wind out of me, big time, but it's nothing more than that. You sure you're okay? I hit you pretty hard. It's okay, I said I was fine, and nothing's broken, no harm done. That's good, She saw what happened. She's not quite up to speed for obvious reasons, but she sounds very worried. More than what the situation deserves really. Someone just bumped into me, nothing serious, just winded. Sorry, it's my fault. I was just going to get stuff, some stuff, and I was in a kind of a hurry. That's someone here is Emmy, isn't it? The little girl coughs quietly and shuffles her plastic or metallic feet, looking down at them before saying anything. Hi, Hi, Lily. Hanako. Hmm. Ano ba to? Classmate ni Lily? Diba? Kakam ko sa mga blind lang. Blind people. I guess the girls know each other. Do please try to be more careful. You might be sturdy enough to endure these sorts of accident, but there are people who aren't. The girl blushes and starts to fidget nervously like a little child caught misbehaving. The girl blushes and starts to fidget nervously like a little child caught misbehaving. Yeah, nararamdaman mo yung parang Ojo-sama or yung alam mo yung headmaid kay Lilly-sama. Kaya, nice. It's so cute I find myself smiling. I know that I am I was just I gotta go. Teacher, teacher, teacher will have teacher. Hi. Teacher will have my head. I have promised to help with prints out, but I went running instead. Sorry, but I've gotta change and everything. Before any of us can say anything, Amy has already bolted away, leaving the hallway eerily quiet. Does that kind of thing happen often around here? There are more rules in Yamako than usual for running in corridors, but that rarely stops Amy, it seems. She shakes her head weakly and offers a slight composed smile. I don't think there's anything we can do to stop her. I'm afraid shall we be off then? Lily heads off along the way and Hanako hurries after her. Paano ako? Yung aking puso, munti ka na ako mamatay. Wala ka ba hindi. Ay, nga pala, hindi nila alam kung ano yung aking sakit. Hindi, sabihin ko sana, hindi mo sila nag-worried. So, nga pala, hindi pala nila alam yung sakit ko. The route to the room the two use for tea is fairly simple to retrace, being still fresh in my mind from yesterday. Lily and Hannah quickly go about the business of making lunch. Before I can even open my small bag of food, Lily's busying herself with her thermos and tea bags as Hanako is setting out both their lunch boxes. So, is this what you meant by coming here almost every day? Yes, Hanako and I usually have lunch here. It's just both of us, so we ended up using this room regularly. After seeing Hanako's reaction to me over the past couple of days, I can understand why that is a boon. Why that is a boon. That and Lily being able to get some quiet away from her class as well. I take my seat last after Lily's poured the tea off for us and sits down. Hoho, tatlo na kami. Nice. The more time I spend with these two girls, the more I think they are perfect foil to Misha and Shizune. Even without a voice, Shizune is direct and brash, and Misha seems to get along with everyone. On the other hand, Lily is soft-spoken and relaxed, while Hanako seems to be the shyest girl I've ever met. Oh. So how are you faring in Yamako, Hisaw? You seem a bit flustered before. Wait lang. Wait. Uh, show image. Wait lang. Oh, full screen. Return. Show image. Print screen. Ay, wait lang. Yung aking palang mouse. Mali. Print screen. Yeah. Thumbnail. Nice. Optional natin. Tanggal full screen. Nice. turn. Tama na ba? Okay na. Nice. So how are you faring in Yamako Hisao? You seem a bit flustered before. Apart from getting lost every now and again and being crash tackled outside my classroom, fine I guess. You you look pretty hurt before. Are you really okay? For a brief moment, I considered telling and Lily about my condition, but then I hold it back. Paano, gusto niyang ma-consider siya as normal. Yung parang kapag sinabi sa kanya, parang mas worried or magpipiti yung mga tao sa kanya. Ayaw niyang ma-feeling yun. Oh, understandable. I can tell why, but for some reason, I feel uncomfortable talking about it to these relative strangers, even if they have been pretty friendly. Yeah, it's nothing. I was just a bit startled. Judging from the two girls' expression, I don't think that they're buying it. But in what I assume is their way of respecting my privacy, they don't press the matter. I guess that is one of the unwritten rules around here. Don't ask, even if people's conditions are obvious, like Hanako's, and there's still bound to be a story involved. Everyone has things that they don't feel comfortable speaking about, and I think everyone here recognizes that. So, how long have you been in this school? You both seem to know your way around pretty well. Well, I've been here since the start of high school, but only moved into the dormitories a year ago. Hanako joined the start of high school as well, and moved to the when she did. And moved to the dormitories when she did, if memory serves me right. That's right, since high school. So we've known each other since then? Since I've moved, yes. Hanako lives next door to me, so it's only natural, right? Right. Yeah, of course. Lily living next to someone is probably reason enough to befriend them, though I'm guessing that Lily's blindness played a part in it as well. I can imagine Hanako easily making friends with someone who has to deliberately avoid looking at her scars. Oh, yeah, true. With the immediate conversation dried up, we start to eat our lunch. It isn't long before the bells are signaling the end of the break. Like me, the girls pack up their lunches as efficiently as they set them out. I guess I'd be better off. Are you going to go with Hisao Hinako? Hi, Hinako. Hisao Hanako. Hanako looks up at me and for a second I can see that she is considering skipping class. Maybe just avoid walking to the classroom with me. Yes. I don't know what to think of it. Hanako really is delicate to the point of breaking if looking at it in the wrong way. It makes me a bit nervous too, but I push the feeling aside, trying to be as natural as I can. We should hurry then, class has already started by the sound of it. Lily gives a nod of farewell as she bends down to take her cane. Hanako and I filing out before her. Tama ba? Tama ba yung basa ko? Oh my god. Hindi ko pala na ano na print screen. No. Text history tayo. Filing out before her, tama. We walk quickly down the empty halls to our respective classes. As we reach the door to Lily's 3-2 classroom, she turns towards me. Hisao, thank you for sharing lunch with us today. My pleasure, Lilly-sama. Where's your sama? Lilly-sama is that for you, Hisao. And with that, we part ways. Lily entering her school and leaving Hanako and me to make off to our own. She's still looking like she wants to run away. So, do you really want to go black? To go back to class now? Yes. Okay then. I feel like I should say something more to her, but it's hard to come up with anything that would be appropriate and safe enough. And Lily was right. The more time we spend out here, the more explaining we have to do. I open the rear door to the class and walk in. The teacher looks up at me and opens his mouth to say something. However, as Hanako follows me in and closes the door, he simply nods to us and continues his lecture. This is the third time that Hanako has had her truancy practically ignored. There's definitely something going on here. We make our way to our season and I notice that Misha and Shizune are both missing as well. I wonder if it's some form of informal agreement with the staff or if it's a perk according to the unique student, afforded to the unique students of this school. Baka yung parang para hindi ma-stress yung mga ano dito. Hindi rin ma-stress yung mga patients if I must say. Trying to make as little disturbance as I can, I extract the relevant textbook from my bag and start catching up. The class goes on quietly. The teacher seems like an okay person despite the weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches is really bizarre. It's as if he expects that everyone is a natural genius. Hindi ba? Mas, what do you expect from us, you know? I'm a slow learner. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time in the day and I'm left wondering what to do. It's at the hospital. It's at the hospital. I had 24 hours a day of free time. But here, filing the considerably shorter hours feel difficult. Everyone else leaves and I'm left alone with the teacher. Mutou is examining is examining the assignment sheets we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his papers briefly, he noticed me and furrows his brow. What is it, Nakai? I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there is nobody else around. I'm nothing, thinking about what I do after school. The teacher the teacher slowly puts the caps on the pen he is holding and arranges his paper into a stack, clacking it against the desk twice. He seems very No, no, no. He seems very methodical, and for a brief moment, I'm reminded of Shizune. But the teacher is more unhurried and relaxed, much more routine. You have no plans? No, I considered joining a club, but don't know what kind of club would interest me. Go observe a meeting of someone else's club, but might pique your interest. I guess. But I don't know how to continue from there. Muto looks at me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid. Huh? Muto looks at me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid a conversation. But I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people. I mean, the other students. I'm talking to people and everything. It's not that I'd be isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about, you know, the disabilities. It's like, it feels that I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them, and it's weird to ignore them. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. The teacher scratches his cheek absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive. These things are only a issue if you make them one. You can talk normally with someone even if they are blind or something. Try to look behind the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance. True, they want to be normal or be seen as normal, yung iba. Pero ewan ko yung iba, baka gusto nila makita as they want to be pitied. Merong mga ganong tao, you know. He says the same thing as Yuko did. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness when the only way to communicate with her is to talk through Misha? Or Hanako, it's not like you can ignore her face. But I'm interrupted I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open. Teacher! Misha cars in and stands straight in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts toward the teacher's desk and with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Muto visibly dismayed at the interruption and Misha in general slumped in his chair. Mikado? Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly as if she's sensing from his tone that something's wrong but has no idea what. Yes? We have talked about volume control before. Yes. But she doesn't lower her voice at all and the teacher just rubs his eyes. So what is it? Anong rub his eyes? Yung parang alam mo yung isang kamay lang tapos yung in the dito, yung sa may ilong, yung sa gitna ng mga mata, ganong rub. Para sa tingin ko ganong rub, 'di ba? Dapat yung pinch the both of between his eyes, parang ganon dapat. We need help. We are running out of supplies for the festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a pink slip of paper she's holding around. So so go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that? Plywood. Plywood is always the problem. Last time we wanted more, there was only a little, but that time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's nothing. Now there's not. There's like none left there. So do you know where there is some? I don't understand. How would I know? Shi-chan, I mean the president thought that a teacher would know if there is plywood. Was she wrong? Muto looks like he is in great pain, frowning with his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible. Like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. I'm afraid I have no idea if there is any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there was any. Oh, what should I do? Perhaps try to find Mr. Nomiya. I'm sure he I'm quite sure he would know where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold dead hands, but that's a matter at you had to pry them from his cold dead hands, but that's a different matter. Ah, I don't have time. We are so busy. She holds her head with both of her hands, looking as despairing as is possible for a person like her. Without even nothing, she crumples the note she was holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do, and we are failing. We are falling behind the schedule. Muto looks at her gravely and then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't really fit his face. I think it'd be better if he didn't. I wonder if you could get some temporary help. He switches to staring at me focusedly with a hard expression as if trying to say, go make friends of friends. Ina-avoid ako ng teacher. Binibigay ako, ginagawa. Tat. I guess I can give you a hand. You can. Thanks, Hichan. You are really nice. She pauses, does a double take, and then points at me with her finger yelping, ah, and looking very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's Hichan doing here? Class is over. You should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's not detention, is it? Are you in trouble, Hichan? No, I'm not. Is Hichan in trouble, teacher? No, he's not. Muto sighs deeply, and I feel that I have to help Misha to get her off the teacher's back. So what do you need? Here's a list. I can try to find the plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room. She offers me the note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said I'd help you, but this has no implication on whether I'm joining the council or not. Ah. Still, thanks, Hichan. Try to be quick. We are in a stall building strike now. We must hurry, 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 hurry. She bounces out of the classroom, leaving and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Naka. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list with a number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small neat handwriting that is undoubtedly Shizune's. I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. The classroom closest. The classrooms closest to ours are designated belonging to class 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think were used for classes. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully pushed open the furthest door and peeked in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room. A thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some easels in the corner, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desk. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody? Oh. Something catches my eyes, and I stop mid-sentence. Sitting on a desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me aback even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in a corner very still, but I still somehow took her as a part of furnishing or statue as at first glance. I'm not too Papepipopu. Papepipopu. Ayuweyo. Ayuweyo. Ala. Nabubulol ako. Nakakapagbabagabag. Nakakapagpabagabag. Ah, I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. Staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate kept us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Hello. The girl stuffs the forkful in her mouth and now is staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello, I was told to pick up some supplies from here for some festival stalls. I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? She raises her eyebrows as if she was suspecting my observation was false. You're pretty observant, I guess it does. But who are you? This girl is pretty this girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai. Hisao Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. That's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. Dark humor. I like it. This kinda bothers me joking about these matters. Doesn't feel appropriate at all. While I'm trying to figure what's appropriate and whether this girl is, she seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but school's already over for the day. What what word what word would you use then? There's a no word for a meal you eat after lunch but before dinner. Right, it bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say. I don't think you are supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. But I'm hungry. True. Pwedeng dinner or hindi kasi lunch dinner. Kaya nga brunch kasi breakfast tapos lunch. Nauna breakfast. Eh di dinner nga or lunner. Luncher? Ewan ko. But I'm hungry now and my delicious box lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. So Nakai, what's bring you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for these things. No, the school. From outside you look fine. Is your problem inside? I come to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out. I can guess I'm good at guessing, but better than most people. Rin cuts me off before I can answer his question or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is a part of the social code here. As the teacher said, I wonder if the people here could relate, probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be with an overtly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light influences her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the outside. I don't think it's anything in your head, and and something in your guts would be or and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, endless. Huh? I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, endless delicious. The problem must be in your pants. This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin eyes wide in revelation and astonishment. So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? Still, still partially in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing that I can think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem. I have a heart problem. Arrhythmia. Oh, first person na nasabihan ko ng aking condition. Nihisaw pala. Hindi talaga ako sanay kapag ano, you know, yung pangalan, hisaw, NM, you know. I said it more like blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the Pants would have been much more scandalous. What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down. I forgive you. Just, I collect people and a person with, that kind of problem would have been really great. Huh? I collect people. People with different problems. Huh? So you just, like, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch and the conversation dies away. But I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition, di ba? Tama. First time, pinakaunang tao. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else, or didn't need to know about it. It's like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as a natural part of introduction? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Miso. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? Wag naman. Masyado ka naman pinipiti. Pero syempre, kailangan mong malaman din naman nila yung ano mo, constitution, if ever. Kung may papagawa lang sa, kunyari, kailangan kong tumakbo. Sabihin ng mahaba. Sabihin mo, syempre, doon yung time na sasabihin mo. Pero yung introduction pa lang, syempre, as if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tesugakar just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arm makes her look very thin, almost scrawny. Siyempre, kapag kumakain siya gamit yung kanyang paa, siyempre kapag naka-skirt, makakita. Tama, di ba? Tama naman ako. Tsaka short hair, nice. I like short hair. She's not particularly pretty, except for her murky green eyes which flicker restlessly from her short bangs even when she eats. The distance and the shadow make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all. Nawawalan ako ng boses, bakit kaya? But instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She move she moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now. I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things. But after enough time passes, the silence grows too much uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. So, do you always eat alone and this late, or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors? Maybe you are my first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the rope if she's not horsing around. Horsing? It's like she likes to do sports. Oh, and that's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bit of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my haul and double check it with Misha's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. Dito, mahirap makipag-usap kapag kumakain yung isang tao. Kaso nga lang, syempre kumakain sila. Ini-enjoy, yung iba ini-enjoy yung pagkain, pero yung iba ini-enjoy yung pagkain with company of other people. Mga ganong tao. Individuality, uniqueness, or what, differentiate. Yeah. Kaya understand na lang. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you are going to do with the stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping. Eh, I'm not sure what to make this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at this point good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine, then I'm Hisaw. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times and I can figure out why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Hisaw. There's something like a tiny smile there in her face, maybe. I quietly back out of the room, and as I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that. What did she hear? I jumped at the sudden appearance of Misha, whom I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten to jumping this of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. Shizune standing slightly behind Misha looks aloof, as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No wait, more impa, who is in there? There's no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's no good, Hichan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood but everything else is still made because you are tardy. Oh, sorry, I get the things here. I was just going to bring them. I think you were up to some mischief, Hichan. Who was in there with you, I wonder? Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by slating on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just take a few deep breaths, adjust her glass, and slam the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She just at very huh? She just a very loaded stare at me too, as if it somehow was my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. Misunderstanding. Masyado namang assumption tong taong mga tao dito. I hope you're not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello? Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. That. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you are doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such a disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. How sarcastic. At any rate, she ignores Shizune Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, point at Rin, and makes some quick signs. Yes. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. That. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently is under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And, well, think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into a satisfied frown. Tatata. Misha Tezuka. Misha Tezuka. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Tingin ko magiging magkaibigan to, si Misha tsaka si ano. si si Rin. Ano kaya ang nga pala? Ano nga pala yung ano ni Misha? Dito. Yung kanyang kanyang sakit. Baka puso din, no? Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's true though, I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are those apocalyptic consequences. But she walked back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't huh? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Wow. Gentleman. Omo. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway. Me and the paint can, paint can, cannot, paint can, following since there little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Michigan, so we two leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the tin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arm from tiring too fast. Orin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Or maybe I am walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can figure out which. Two flights of stairs below, Trouble appears in the form of the herd nurse and his fox-like grin. Mr. Nakai, what a happy Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. Kabisado mo ba lahat ng tao dito? He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me, because obviously it's me who he had some business with. There's something I forgot to mention Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't help even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the unhandled delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medication. Since you haven't been that long on your current medication, there might be some unexpected side effect which might require adjusting dosage or even changing to another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that fills up, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come see if something happens. Okay, alright. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Whew. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seems to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one another thing. My source tell me you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you've taken up exercise as asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such, I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder. Even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second and then comes back like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for his permission, which she didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you are still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm calming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it will be. It's the same thing with everything, like dieting. Can you promise to be more serious about this from now on? Okay, yes. Yes, I promise, definitely. Para sa akin din kasi to. Kailangan din pala sa akin. Para kay Hisaw. Kailangan niya tumakbo para maging healthy heart, healthy living, you know? Yeah, I promise, definitely. He studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. I like to do school track tomorrow morning. You'll meet my spy who probably has no qualms offering consultations to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation. See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand with no answer. I walk to Rin who has been waiting idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medication for your heart thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there is some inexplicable lack that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, therefore my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer and she neither says anything further nor display any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital, it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building and Rin lead us onwards toward the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall made of the same kind of brick as the building itself has been covered with some sort of a painting. Most of it still mere sketches, quick line draws with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. These are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stock of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guy from him, but the guy, tingin ko sa ilong ko yan, nababara yung ilong ko. Nahirapan akong magano, bumasa dahil yun sa aking bibig ako humihinga na rin. Wait lang. Mamamatay na masyado kasing malamig. Mabis ako lumigin eh. But the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and bases surface whenever which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around and makes me think it could look sadder than it does. but it makes me feel out of place. It's like almost every tangible reminder of the student basis. Special properties has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So this is your project. You did this? Yes, yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumbled with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't get I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is though. Nakita nyo ba yon? Nag nag-block yung screen. Oh my god. Sira. Oh my god, nasira na ata yung laptop ng kapatid ko. Kasalanan ko. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask, how do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to it, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us anything more to add the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, painting tends to be flat. Not like that flat, flat. Like some people are no substance, no meat, where there should be some. I know a few girls who, okay, I get it, but I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many. Bakit ang bilis-bilis nun? Options, auto mode delay, text speed. Bakit may mga mabibilis? Paano ko ba yun? Paano, parang by click na lang, para. Pero sa tingin ko, nag-aano din yun sa ano yung parang nagmamadali talaga. Parang kinakat in yung sinasabi. Astig lang. Okay, I get it, but I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have nothing to say. Anything to say pala, tama? Anything to say? I don't really have anything to say, tama. Rin shrugged her shoulders at the saying, suit yourself, without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones at they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Ranger is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure if I could be of any help though. Just mixing some paints. You can do that probably. Do you have motor control problems like, those people who have some cerebral palsy maybe? Not that I know of. I get it. Hard thing has not. Oh my god, yun na naman. Hard thing has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. She sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a white brush between toes of her bare foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work every now and then, asking me for a hand with something or the other. Tat. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last millimeter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green. I crouched down to pick the can of bright green. The other green. This green. I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. Oh my god. May malaking may malaking insekto na nasa loob ng kwarto. Ho! 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 Nakahayaan kasing nakabukas yung bintana. Wait lang, wait lang. Saraduhin ko lang. It's a moth. It's a big moth. Super moth. I can pour some of the other in the bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hint of smile appears in the corner of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay because I just got an idea. Add more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That sounds good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream but can't remember it. Oddly specific. Maybe it's yellow. That. Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. M na, no? Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the most I have between mixing paints, crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Trin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from few words, then when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time. And even though short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu chord words for various paint and hues. And as if there were some need to conserve words and breath and sound. Hoho! Astig, nagaano yung ano. May evolution. Nice. We stay there late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. Ine. Nice. The sound of an alarm pulls me out of fitful slumber and into the unpleasant state of wakefulness. I linger under the blanket for a few minutes, gathering energy to rise up while making excuses as for why I already haven't. Honestly, I wouldn't mind staying here for all day. School is surprisingly exhausting. After a long pause and the culture shock still has not faded, I think. Still, despite getting an impression that skipping classes is here, I don't think they are going to let me get away that easily. And the nurse is bound to keep breathing down my neck and with the talk of exercising as well. So eventually, I do rise up, swallow the morning medication, put my old soccer clothing. Thanks to my condition, I was exempted from taking part in gym classes at Yamako, so I didn't get issued with a gym outfit. In order to cover such a contingency, but wearing my older, old soccer clothes is kind of nostalgic. I can't use them for that anymore, so maybe they can get a new life this way, a bit like me. After all, I'm going to start taking care of myself. I can't afford to slack around. I'll start from the basics. Basics which include keeping the rest of my body in shape along with what little I can do to strengthen my heart. Maybe then I can go back to something approaching a normal life or at least something where I'm less likely to fall over dead at any minute. I'm surprised to discover that I'm not the one present at the track. Not just that, but it's a face I've seen before. The prosthetic leg girl who bowled me over in the hallway yesterday is running on the track lightly like a half-mechanical gazelle. Astiga, alam ko yung ano. What was her name again? It was a short one, but I can't remember. Emmy. She seems to be running laps at a somewhat easy lope, her prosthetic legs clacking rhythmically on the hard track surface. I wonder what reason she has for running in this early in the morning. Maybe it's something akin to mine and the nurse is oppressing the poor girl to jog just like he is oppressing me. I said I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my health, and he's prompting me to do so. And even with things being like they are, it's only because I wanted to get it out of the way early. The fact that I would be less likely to encounter someone who would witness my pitiful attempts to get in shape was merely a happy accident. I live, but it seems that my former assailant noticed me on her last lap. She waves at me and cheerfully jogs over. Good morning, your name is Hisao, right? She grins, seemingly pleased that she'd remember my name. You may not remember me. I'm Emmy. I knocked you over in the hall yesterday. How could how could I forget such a blunt introduction? Emmy has the decency to look vaguely apologetic for a moment before giggling. Yes, sorry about that again. Hmm. Well, so long as you don't make a habit of it, I suppose I'll be fine. Great. I'm not sure she realized I was joking. So the spy the nurse was talking about, is that actually you? That's right. Oh, I was expecting some from the nursing staff, to be honest. What? Are you saying I could be a spy? No, this is more like a relief. I was afraid if he would have someone to watch my every move. Unless you are here to do exactly that. No, I'm here for my own reason. Reasons. The nurse just asked me if I had seen a messy-haired transfer student who looks like he's kinda lost around the track. So why are you down here? Emmy strikes a dramatic pose. Training. For what? Track. Ah, I see you're on the track team then. Emmy nods enthusiastically. Yep, I'm one of the better runners too. And modest about it too. Hey, you should join up. It's good exercise, you know. I think that much activity is probably out of the question for me. Nah, I'm not even sure that I really like running all that much. Plus, I'm not just into organized sports, you know. It's true, I never even really got that much into soccer. I mean, I'd run out with my friends and all, but that was really the reason I only ever played. Yeah, it's for the friends. Kaya alam din pumapasok sa school para sa happy times with friends. Bonus na lang yung kung gusto mo talaga mag-aral. Tsaka nasa teacher naman yun kung maganda talaga yung kung paano nila, yung parang nagiging interest yung mga student kung paano nila, di ba? It wasn't for the glory to be found on the field, that's for sure. Emmy seems to be understanding my meaning. I see. Not that into the whole organization thing. But now that you're here, I guess we're going to run together, huh? What? Sure, I guess. Emmy seems pleased. Are you going to warm up? Real men don't warm up. Oh no, you always should warm up. Bad hisaw. She scolds me enthusiastically but then smiles and leans closer. I hate warming up too. She laughs suddenly. Heck, and I don't even have to stretch my legs. As if to confirm her statement, she bounces up and down a couple of times, giving a passing impression of standing on a pair of springs. Her leg blades seems to be quite elastic. Let's go. Let's go. So we bet si bo So we both take off around the track and I can immediately see that she wasn't lying about being good at running. Emmy moves fluidly, throwing herself into the run with a sort of wild abandon. I find myself concentrating more on running properly. Hands-friend, right? And something about hitting on the balls of your feet rather than the heels. Trying to match my stride to Emmy's, but it's pretty difficult. Apparently, I'm not very good at it. Maybe Emmy could help me with that sometime. I'm not really feeling up to more than a couple of laps today, and slow to a walk pretty quickly. Emi keeps running and doesn't seem to notice I've stopped until she passes me a second time. She quickly skids to a halt, breathing steadily in contrast to my own somewhat gasping demeanor. Finished already? I hung my head ruefully. Yeah, I'm not in very good shape right now. Emi nods and then grinns at me again. She seems to do a lot of smiling. Well, that important thing is you started, right? Next time, you just have to try to hold out longer, and then longer, and longer. And eventually, you'll be great. I'll keep that in mind. But I think right now, I'm going to get ready for class. Shouldn't you? Emi shrugs unconcernedly. Nah, I've got plenty of time. I noticed that she's not wearing a watch. Are you sure? Another careless shrug. Not really, but I've got to finish my routine. See you later, Hisaw. See ya. Yeah, see ya. I'm not sure whether this morning's experiment was a success or a failure, but I'll admit that I do feel slightly good about getting out there this morning. And like Emmy said, I just need to keep it at in order to get better, right? Practice makes perfect or something like that. Alam mo yung parang kailangan mo sa mga isang week or ilang araw sa isang doon sa goal mo, sa hanggang limit mo. Tapos sa mga nakalang araw, kahit paunti-unti yung pagtaas mo dun sa limit. Tapos over a month or kung ano man, yung kung ano yung pinagsimulan mo. Tapos dun sa kung ano na yung limit mo ngayon, masyado nang malaki, parang ganun. Ewan ko. Nakita ko lang sa mga manga din. It's nice at least to feel like I've taken some semblance of control over my own health. I'll have to try to keep this up. I head back to the dorms, wash, nastigo, may bago talaga. Wash and change into my room, trying to resist the urge to take a really long and hot shower. I'm tired from all the running, so I just wanted to unwind, but I don't want to break my slowly building routine of getting to school before the morning rush. After taking a long shower anyway, I dry myself off and get off the stall to put on my clothes. Who's this? Is this? Out of nowhere, a shadow appears with the mist looming and radiation malicious intent. It bursts through the fog. Oh my god! Sup? What are you doing here? What the hell? You scared me. What's your problem? I should be asking you that. I've been looking for you all over the place, man. What do you mean all over the place? I want to ask if he's been looking for me like that. Start naked but hold my tongue back. I finally realized I'm still naked and quickly hold my shirt in front of me, but Kenji doesn't seem to notice a thing. His glasses are fogged up, but then why doesn't he wipe them up? Is his vision so bad? It's like he's perpetually seeing through fog. You know your room and yeah, that's it. Hey, I mean, I still had to get up though. That, oh. Pwede ko sa yung scroll ng mouse. You know your room and yeah, that's it. Hey, I mean, I still had to get up though. Whatever, it's not important. Can I borrow some money? He puts an innocent face and looks away, trying very hard to look very casual. It doesn't work. He's as far as his window pane sized glasses. Talking neutrally like this, wearing nothing feels awkward. Actually, somehow, it's even more awkward to be naked in front of someone when they can see me being naked, to say nothing of the fact that he's naked as well. I try to brush the feeling off with little success. Money? Sure. Awesome. Wait, why do you need it? Eh, can't you just give it to me because I had to goodwill not to run through your pockets while you were in the shower? I could have, but I exercised restraint, and in the end, isn't it the thought that counts? Come on, be a pal. Kapag mag-uutang ka, sabihin mo naman yung rason kung saan mo gagamitin. Kailangan talaga yon. Mas lalo na sa akin. Gusto ko yung alam ko kung saan gagamitin yung pera ko. Kung kasamaan ba o kabutihan. Kung sa kabutihan, wag na. Kung kasamaan baka. Baligtad. This makes no sense. If that thought that counts, I should withhold payment since his thoughts were so clearly impure and his intentions are probably even more sinister since he can't tell me what they are. I say as much to him. I'm offended, man, but is your game? Then fine, I guess I have no choice. I want to order a pizza. I already have the most of the cost of the pizza. I need your help for the rest. I get some of the pizza too, right? No. Are you serious? Yeah, I would give you some, but you have class. But you don't have time to eat a pizza. What about you? I'm not going to class. I have to wait for the pizza and pay the guy. And then eat it. It's not easy. You have to obtain pizza stealthily. If you don't, everyone will see you and the pizza and they will ask for a slice. True, true. Matalino, matalino. It's a hard world out there. Everything wants a piece. Then you're left pizzaless. In an unforgiving world, it's happened before. That's how I know. Every day I plan my vengeance so that when the people who wrong me order a pizza, I will be there. Ever vigilant. Isipin mo yun. Yung nag-order sila ng ano, tapos bila lang, may tao sa bintana. Pengi din ako niyan. Kenji strikes a dramatic pose completely without irony. But yeah, I only need like 400 yen. Please, you're my only hope. I can go outside and buy my own pizza. It's too far. I try not to go unless it's absolutely necessary. Let me tell you what happened the last time I went out without carefully planning it out in advance. I was outside. I was outside. I can't remember what I was doing. Something, standing, maybe wondering how I got there. And then out of nowhere it happened, like a flash of lightning, splitting the sky, like how you split a sandwich into two equal pieces to make it more manageable to hold and eat. A bird crapped on my head. It was the second most shocking moment of my life. What was the first? He ignores me and keeps going. I want to grab him and shake him. Is he just trying to keep momentum? I go with that, even if it's more likely he just didn't hear me. It was like in the open, some kind of animation. You know how there is always a part where the main dude is fighting his rival, and they fly at each other and clash swords in their legs, big dramatic colored and auras and zoom. It was like that, but with poo. Okay. So yeah, I need some money. Please don't leave me hanging. I only need like 1,000 yen. Di ba 400? I thought it was 400. Okay. What? I'll pay you back, I swear. It better that's what it means to borrow stuff. I don't know when I'll be able to pay you back. You have 1 week. Ah! Kenji whines and make a noise like a dying cow. A particularly disturbing fact given that his button is conducting freely. You're not supposed to be so tight as about money between brothers in arms. Man, men have it bad enough as it is. Did you know that male porn stars only make about half of what female porn stars is? Naka-disable yung ano, di ba? Disable ata. Ha? Ha? Anong klaseng fact to? Out of nowhere, unexpectedly. That doesn't mean anything unless you're a porn star. So maybe I am a porn star on the side. Struggling to make ends meet as I fight the feminist agenda and you can't even spot me or crumbs. You're bastard. Nobody understand. Nobody. Wouldn't feminists be against pornography in the first place? This feminist agenda stuff again. Wait lang, maano yung ilong ko napupuno. Wait lang. This stuff is important. I can see that you don't give a shit, but this is serious here. Feminists are the dangerous enemy. Make no mistake. You take them lightly and you'll wake up in the morning with a knife in your back. Bam! Out of nowhere. How do you wake up in the morning if someone stab you in your sleep? Women are terrible at stabbing things. I thought you just said don't take them lightly. Well, I mean don't take them lightly for the big things. Individually, they're not a threat. But if there was some kind of war, like a big war, with men on one side and feminist forces on the other, it would be pretty ugly. And that day will come when the feminists come out of their central top secret worldwide feminist headquarters and says, "It's on now, motherfuckers." You're being ridiculous. There's no big worldwide feminist disabled worldwide feminist headquarters building. Where would they even hide that? I mean, it had to be massive. You couldn't hide that on Earth. Someone would notice a big fortress with a woman only in it. Who said it was on Earth? I turn away from Kenji and start practicing frowning face in the mirror so that I can figure out what kind of frown will best express my emotion. He can see me from the distance anyway, which unfortunately means that he just keeps on ranting without any regard to sense or sensibility. Yeah, there's a war going on. A war not many know about, but it's a great one that with one day boil over. And encompass all of the known world. Then we will have to pick sides. We will have to make a stand. In fact, it's happening right now. Imagine it, the bloody battlefield, a vicious conflict without end. I almost gave up when I thought this cause was silly, when I grew tired of the bleakness of our fight, when I mistook the time the power went out for a feminist raid and thought the end was near. But then I realized that if I gave up, it would all be over. It would all be over. And I was like, wow. And knew I had to get serious, but because I'm the last sane man in an insane world, it's about duty. Must be a pretty crappy movement if it all hinges on one naked guy ranting in the bathroom of another naked guy. So can I have the money? He's blocking the way out. It's getting cold because I'm still naked and I want to go to class. So I agree to spot him the money. Awesome, thanks dude. We should go bowling later on. Bowling? Yeah, it's the ultimate sport. There are almost no women bowlers either, making it also the manliest sport. Should I wear my pink bowling shirt with the matching shoes or the pastel green with flower accents? There are bowling clothes. Maybe. Anyway, you had better pay me back. I can pay you back in stuff, right? I don't have the time to ask him to ever on that what that means. I don't know. I don't know. I have to get back. I have to get to class. You're kind of in the way. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I don't want to hold you up, and I have something to do myself. The time has come. Time for what? I just like saying that. Okay, now the time has really come. For what? I have to use the bathroom. Get out of it. I was just going to. And what does that mean? It's a bad. What does that mean? It's a big bathroom. So I have to be alone, or I can't go. The pressure. Okay, what if someone else comes in? I'll think of something. I give him my practice frown and it looks like kind of silly reflected in his class. Either doesn't notice or doesn't see. Anyway, so I get this dress and run back to my room, feeling as though an eternity has passed since I woke up. That is time I will never get back. I'll get him for this somehow. But right now I have to get to class. Woof! I'm the first person in class today, although I think I'm a little too early. Then again, sitting alone here for 20 minutes sure beats having to suffer that time with Kenji. Combination of fatigue, frustration, and boredom starts making me feel very tired. I black out for a second, waking up when my head hits the surface of my desk, rubbing my forehead. I realize this is as good a reason as any to stay up for now and stop coming to class so early later. Hoho. Eventually, I hear a tapping noise outside in the hallway, and Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. She's not in this class, so she must have some other business. Maybe she's looking for Hanako. Lily stops at the door, looking hesitant as if she was a vampire who can't come in unless invited. Oh. May mga ganong vampire, di ba? Yung parang hindi sila pwedeng pumasok sa isang ano. Vampire ba? Or parang ibang ano yun ah. Pagkakatanda ko, ibang ano. Ibang succubus, ewan ko. Hindi ko matandaan. Yung kapag di mo sila inimbita papasok, di talaga sila makakapasok. I consider doing because she looked rather lonesome standing there. She steps in on her own accord, though, after straightening her skirt and shirt collar as if it was of importance to look prim when entering our classroom. Excuse me, she calls into the choir with a probing, delicate voice. I realize the silence might unnerve her because of her blindness, so I break it. Good morning, Lily. Hisao, good morning. I didn't hear you come in. I wonder if she thinks it's suspicion I didn't say anything to her before. It's likely if I were to tell to big ally if if I were to tell to huh? If I were to tell too big a lie now, it would sink me. Well, I was already here, just asleep until now. Oh, have you seen Hanako today by any chance? No, she seems to come in only just before the bell thing or after that. Do you want to tell her something for you? No, it's fine. It's strange, but I think we're the only two people in the school right now. I didn't hear anyone else on my way here. I shouldn't have gotten up so early today, I guess. You're chastising yourself for doing something that other people should. Punctuality is a good thing. I think so anyway. It's a very busy morning today. The festival is coming up soon, and today is the deadline for event registration, budget reports, and any other official paperwork. It could be that everyone is trying to complete the necessary forms at the last minute. Maybe that is why it's so quiet today. Hi, hi. Misha pops into the room with Shizune as if on cue, shouting with a loud oh my god. Naga with a loudness that makes Lily visibly flinch. He-chan. Hi pala, hindi pala. He-chan. Hi, He-chan. Hi. Tat. Look, it's the class representative. Hello. Lily smiles, probably amused by Misha's or Shizune's use of the word look. Good morning. Tat. Of course, you're not the representative of this class, right? I'm not. Lily seems a little more guarded in her answers to Shizune that she was with me the other day. I guess they don't get along at all. Then I realized that Lily might actually not know Shizune is present and she's trying to detect whether or not she is, to know who she is talking to. For all she knows, she is talking to Misha, but now knowing that she and Shizune are practically inseparable, she might expect Shizune being the one that actually talks. Damn, how complicated. I decided to Lily help out for my own peace of mind more than anything else. You're here early, Shizune. Tat. You were here even earlier than us. Misha puffed out her cheeks angrily. Why is she getting angry? Does she feel emotions on Shizune's behalf too? It's not that weird though that Shizune didn't like my little comment. It's true I was here earlier than them, so me saying something like that could be definitely be misinterpreted as anything. Especially to Shizune who doesn't have the benefit of hearing tone to gauge intent. Before I can start weighing whether or not I should apologize, Shizune has already moved on. That. Class rep, it's a good thing you're here. We have to talk. That. The festival is coming up in 3 days, right? Every other class has already handed in their project badges for their event, even the freshers, except you. Wahahaha. There is still time to hand it in, isn't it there? Tat. Angry face. Today, the deadline is today. You're certainly taking your time, aren't you? If I had it my way, I'd have all of the necessary paperwork days ago. But someone had to say the deadline. Please extend it. Yes, that was me. Planning something on this scale is not a small task, and a week is too small a time frame to expect a whole class to work out such a complex issue completely. True. Tat. Do you want to know what's harder than distributing the funds for one class event? Handling the same matter for every class in the school, and then some. The one who does that is me. Musha put her hand on her hips and stand up straight. Wow, she is really getting into the role. Lily doesn't look like she's very amused though. Hey Shizune, aren't you being a little too hard on her? There's still a whole day left. Please, Hisaw, it's alright. Lily seems happy I'm taking her side, but a bit conflicted that I might not think she can take care of herself. If this is about the budget, then I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed you think I have forgotten about it. I understand how important it is. Tat. Then can I have it please? Shizune, she might not have it in her on her at this exact second. It's not right here right now. It's not here right now. I asked two students to, to take care of it for me, students from my class. She emphasizes the last sentence much to my surprise. She knows about Shizune Imish's effort to rope me into the student council. I guess word must have gotten around, so now she's using me as a ammo against Shizune. Things just get better and better. Huh? It was your responsibility. It was your responsibility. A budget report isn't something you should just be delegating away as class rep. It's your job to be on top of things. This kind of disregard for proper procedure is really just terrible. They completed it, being capable of doing so, but the students have been sick recently, so they could not come to school and give it back to me. If you want, I will apologize in their behalf for getting sick. Okay. Although Misha seems little Although Misha misses Lily's little job entirely, Shizune doesn't, and she seems torn between being offended by Lily's daring and jumping for joy at the prospect of a challenge. Hehe. Girl fight, cat fight, if you may say. Lily, don't they live here at the school? They have just a 5 minute walk. What could they possibly have that prevents them from taking 5 minutes of their busy lives to drop off something that will affect the enjoyment of their entire class? Lily opens her mouth to say something, but Shizune closes the gap between them and starts signing furiously, waving her hands around like an orchestra conductor. Misha tries her best to convey the same passion but can seem to lose her normal cheerful tone. The short is interesting and somewhat surreal. Tat 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 tat. And what's with that attitude? I said that it's not something you should be delegating away. Are you the class representative or aren't you? Tell me the names of those two students. They should have your job. They should have your job if you can't even handle something this simple. Hey, 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 this simple or sharp. Hey, be easy on my Lilly-sama, you motherfuckers. Huh? Be easy on my ano. Kaya hindi ko kayo pinili. Ito yung rason kung bakit hindi ko sila pinili eh. Masyado silang so harsh on my Lilly-sama. One form isn't the full extent of what I am supposed to take care of. Lily's tone is growing slightly impatient, but she's doing a good job for not letting Shizune see how unsettled she is become. She's playing her card close to her chest. Shizune, on the other hand, rubs her finger cheerfully along the edge of her glasses, knowing Lily can neither hear nor see how excited she is. Tat 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 tat. Of course, you do so much, class rep. It must be so difficult being you. Lily tightens her lip at Misha's words, clearly understand the intent behind them, even though Misha delivers them without even a hint of the sarcasm which they were meant to have. Shizune and Lily don't like each other. That much is clear, but this seems a little much. It seems like Lily has had enough and is ready to push back. Ho ho. Ho? It was actually I was actually just discussing the budget report before you came by. You must be very talented to have finished all your student council duties so quickly that you can track me down to make sure I don't forget my own. Are you accusing me of slacking off? It seems like you're confusing me with yourself. I don't think so. That would be very difficult thing for me to do, comparing myself to you. You're right. The difference between us is like heaven and hell, and it's not hard to guess which one you might represent. Ah. The air between them ripples with the heat of their enmity. Well, not really. They can't disguise it anymore, though. Even Michelle looks like she's beginning to understand the real nature of this conversation. Ops. Show image. Print screen natin yan. Yes. Full screen uli natin. Turn. Oh my god, kita yung pants! Meh. Kita yung pants, oh my god. Show image. Print screen. Option. Full screen. Oh yeah. Return. Even Michelle looks like she's beginning to understand the real nature of this conversation. Dat. Hichan, don't just lack of either. What are you talking about? Dat. Aren't you taking part in the festival, Hichan? You are, aren't you? Then I hope you're going to do a lot more to make sure it goes smoothly than this person. I don't understand why Shizune is suddenly getting mad at me. Hey, come on, cut me and Lily some slack. Don't drag me to I've done my part, huh? Hey, come on. Hey, I'm the new guy, remember? That's like I could have done much even if I wanted. That's right, Lily. That's right. You shouldn't expect it, huh? Let's go, Lily. Let's go. That's right. You shouldn't expect a transfer student to jump right into it on his first week. Lily taking my side feels oddly comforting, so I decided to back her up too. Yeah, you're being unreasonable with us both. Dat. Excuses. Miss Classrep has had plenty of time to deal with her report, and we repeatedly offered you opposition to help with the student council work, but you refused to commit yourself to making the festival a success. Yeah, but as I said back then, I'm not sure if I don't have time for this right now. No matter what I do, it will mean being drawn into a confrontation with Shizune, and that is what she wants. Whatever, forget it. I turn my back at them. Lily, class is going to be starting soon, so we can talk more later. I'll tell you, Hanako, you were looking for her. I can feel Shizune freezing. Maybe this is the first time she has ever been ignored in such a blunt manner. Feels good to be bad. Thank you, Hisao. I leave now then. She gives me the sweetest smile. Thank you, Lily. Lily-sama. Thank you. I've seen all week and turns on her heels to make her exit. As soon as Lily walks out the door, I suddenly start feeling reluctant about turning to face Shizune. I can feel her eyes burning into my back and can't bring myself to look at her. She must be furious. I keep expecting Misha to say something to alleviate the tension, but it's really is wanting too much. In the end, I go back to my seat and listen to the sound of Shizune's footsteps as she marches out of the room. She doesn't return until a few minutes before class. Ho 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 ho. Hanako doesn't come to the morning class at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely in the back of the classroom. I have to tell her that Lily was looking for her if I see her later. After the event of this morning, class is pretty boring in comparison. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a bit of catching up to do despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital, but I'm not feeling the enthusiastic about it. The clock at the front of the room sounds unbearably loud. The teacher hasn't said, uh, uh, daming digha yun ah. The teacher hasn't said anything in over 7 minutes, instead opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equation taken directly from the book. Rhythmic clashing of chalk on board seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they are right there in the textbook. Ako yung ano, alam niyo yung pag ano, talita. Parang kailangan ko isulat para matanda. Mas madali ko matandaan. Ganun akong type. Siyempre, tatanungin ko kung ano hindi ko alam. Tapos, sulat ko. Para matandaan ko. Ano ako eh? Ano? Spoon-fed. Doon ako kaya, kailangan ko mas spoon-fed para talaga matuto. Hindi ako talent, you know. I can't, I'm not really that independent on my own. I'm dependent. Pero doon ako maging magaling. Kailangan mag-depend paminsan-minsan. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry because I have nothing to do. So I stay for a while reviewing what we covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with crowding in the hallways. I noticed Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shizune is signing so fast that her hands makes noise like sword cutting through the air. Maybe there is pent-up anger in there. Misha is trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing, it looks like serious business. Shizune's signs to the point where her wrists crackle and Misha struggles to spit it out in the word form. Sometimes she trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters. And then on top of that, she has to sign back anything the other girl says. She seems like a rough job. Kawaiso, Misha. I respect your job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Luckily for her, their business is soon finished and the girls sit down on their seats again. Ooh, I'm so tired. She hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I least the opportunity to reconcile with Shizune a bit, without getting roped into the student council thing again. I suspect the door is now closed for me. Festival preparation must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in this school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling around before and after class, they're always talking about their plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. Enthusiastic. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune scoffs at me first as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me. But in the end, she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up looking at her hands with slightly unfocused eyes. Huh? Huh? She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well, it's most like Shizune is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have she must have practiced it vigorously. Well, of course, we're in the student council, so we're pretty busy. Tat. It's an important duty of ours to ensure success of the festival with all our strength. Tat. We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generation if the festival were to fail. Ahem. Mamatay na ako. Tat. That's why there must be no flaws. No, I think that was encumbrances. No, nothing that might make the festival short of perfect. Shizune's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are really oddly fitting of them. Oh, hello. I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, most of her body behind the door. Door? The door. Hey, playing delinquent again? Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. Tat 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 tat. Shizune stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away, to the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she is showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. Ha! How unreasonable. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. What is it, Hanako? Has Lily been here? Sorry, haven't seen Sato. She came by in the morning though. Hanako keeps losing uneasily as Shizune, who stares back at her with her usual studying gaze. What is she trying to do? Of course, Shizune isn't going to look away, and is she is intimidating enough as it is. So I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is a little uncomfortable watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behavior. This is what happened when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems. Do you know where she is? That. If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom working on... wait lang, inom lang akong tubig tsaka sisinga. Mamatay na ako eh. I'm gonna die. If she has any sense, she's in her classroom working on their festival project. But who knows where that woman is loitering at. You need to find her. She was looking for you in the morning, but I guess you have missed each other. She waits a little without answering the simple question, looking off foolish like she's not sure if it's proper to answer such a question. Yeah, I can come with you, if it's okay. Hanako nods fractional still on guard, her shoulders stiff like wood. I get the feeling that she might be comfortable by herself after all, but it's too late to back off now. She has this really troubled expression she seems to wear almost constantly. One that makes me consciously be on guard myself. I wonder why. I kind of understand why she always seems to be so wary. Or maybe more like, why there could be a person like her. But I still have no idea how I should act around such a person. It's dinner time soon. Were you planning to eat with Lily? She nods slightly. So she must have been trying to get it in the cafeteria. There's something of a dinner crowd, just like the cafeteria is crowded during lunch. Not as bad during dinner time, it's longer than lunch hour. But I can understand why Hanako could be discouraged from going in. I pick up my bag and we take our leave. Hanako skips a little to meet my initial pace, so I slow down to match her speed. It doesn't take long for us to be walking at a comfortable pace down the hallway. It almost feels like we're going for a stroll together. Sometimes that I can say I've really done before with a girl. Hanako doesn't seem to be thinking the same thing though. Even though we are walking at the same pace, she never comes within arm's reach of me. I guess she's still a little uncomfortable around me, given how shy she is. There doesn't seem to be much helping, at least for now. By the time we arrive at the cafeteria, there is not much of a crowd there, but Lily is nowhere to be seen. Hanako head sinks even lower than usual. Have you looked somewhere else already? Just at the library I was reading. So she does spend the classes she skips at the library. So not exactly a thorough search then. Well, if I had to guess, she'd be in her own class like she did said, right? Right. With a slight test of nods, Hanako agrees with my reasoning. God, just being so awkward. It's like I need double layered silk gloves with padding to even begin interacting with her. Ahem. Some small talk might help her become a bit more used to me. It isn't hard to tell that the silence between us is hovering on the edge of both our minds. So you and Lily usually hang out together after class, right? Yes. I'm not quite sure what I expected from her answer, nor why I even asked the question. That much was rather obvious after all. She doesn't seem the type to cultivate a social circle, either, so I suspect that Lily may be her only friend. Must be a pain being a different class, I'm guessing. She gives a sharp, almost reflexive nod. Compared to Lily's careful thought about her actions and speech. Ugh. Ugh. Hanako hastens to make her answers as prompt and short as possible. Lily comes by the classroom though, even when she's busy. She gives a small smile as she says it, evidently appreciating the fact that Lily goes out of her way to help her. It's pretty cute, really. There isn't any need to say more. Both of us content that discussions reach an end. As we ascend the stairs back to the lobby, we are met by a group of students heading downstairs like a school of fish moving from one feeding area to another. Dati pala hindi ko yun dire-diretso. Baka dun pala ako nauubusan ng hininga. Kakabasa ng dire-diretso. They seem to be keeping mostly to themselves. But before I can notice her doing so, Hanako has moved around behind me. Hey, are you alright? Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. The student passed us without as much as second class, and Hanako takes up position to my side again as we enter the building. Her momentary reprieve from her anxiety but all but snatched away. Even as we climb toward the third floor, she doesn't seem to relax. It isn't as if I've never known a shy person before, or even shy girls, but Hanako seemed to be pretty far beyond what I'd call normal in her fear of other people. If it weren't for Lily acting as a mediator, I doubt Hanako would have been able to walk beside me like this. She seems to completely shut down in presence of others. The rest of the walk up to Lily's classroom continues in strained silence while I rue in her inability to socialize at all. After we make our way up the stairs, the noise coming from Lily's classroom is audible from halfway down the hallway. I wasn't expecting such a din at all. Well, I guess we found her. This wasn't hard. Did Hanako come here first, then come for me for backup, I wonder. Well, if that's so, then at least she's starting to trust me a little. That can only be a good thing. Eventually, the two of us reached the door to class 3-2. With Hanako less than subtly positioning herself behind me, I opened the door. Hoy, meron silang electric pan. Nice. Sa amin, wala. May nakita bang electric pan? Inside is a hive of activity, seemingly every student in the class talking at once as they work hurriedly on their separate tasks. Going by the paint cans, decoration and banners being made, it must be for the upcoming school festival. Syempre, ano pa ba? I guess my first priority should be finding Lily. There. Finding her among the dean is surprisingly easy. Not that least not the least because of her looks. With a couple of students gathered around her, she stands at the front of the class. She seems to be in charge of the preparations, or at least busy organizing them. Carefully negotiating a path through the variation of students hunched over the floor for lack of desk space. I raised a hand entirely out of habit as we finally reach Lily. Hi, Lily. She perks her head up as she breaks off talking to a noticeably smaller girl who must be her classmate, trying to listen as best as she can. Sorry, who? Sorry, Hisao. I have Hanako too. Hi. She's pretty skittish. Considering the number of people around, it isn't too hard to work out why. Lily takes a moment to pause to Lily takes a moment's pause to assess the situation before turning to the other student once again. For the moment, just ask Moria for his advice. Kenji's busy with painting one of the banners already. A quick nod, Kenji! Sabi ko na nga ba, magkaklase sila eh. Hehe. Sa kasi, di ba, sa partially blind, legally blind, and completely blind student yung kanilang class, syempre. Carefully sliding along the wall's face for orientation. Wait, Kenji? That Kenji? I quickly turn about, leaning to the side to see past Hanako. Sure enough, in a corner of the room, Kenji hunched over a sheet of cloth as he paints it. His eyes remains only inches from the brush. Reminds me of how he had to be to make out my face when I meet him. Sorry about that. Our class doesn't have many students with even partial eyesight, so they're in high demand. That's right. Class 3-2 was specially for students with poor vision. Preparing for the festival must be pretty arduous for them. Need a hand? I could give you help if you need some. Maybe Hanako could too. A chance to set her mind on something would do her good, but I doubt she has the courage to ask outright. She quickly nodded in affirmation afterwards, so I'm confident I made the right move.
Lily gives a noticeable sigh of relief. Ah, that's good. This might actually get finished before everyone goes off to dinner now. Would you be able to help the person painting the main banner? It's a big task for him to do, but nobody else can. Kenji, sure. She seems surprised that I know him. I can't really blame her. I take it you've met. Our rooms in the dorm are right next to each other. Hard to miss each other, really. Well, it's good to see you're getting friends so fast. Friend, I wonder if that's right the word to use for him. Who are you? My mom? Haha, I do like my moms. Nice. Nice. Hanako silence during the proceedings, reminding of the reason I put her up to helping in the first place. We'll go help him then. He knows what he needs to doing, right? That's right. Just ask if you have any problems. Chorusing in accent, Hanako and I begin another trek around across the classroom. Kenji sits crouched on the floor, his gaze fixed on the white calico in front of him. Hey Kenji. No answer, he continues dragging his paint-soaked brush along the large half-painted kanji that's sketched on the sheet in the pencil. Kenji, huh? What? Who is it? If this is the way he treats class member, it's no small wonder he's working on this alone. It's me, so from the right, I know that man. What are you doing here though? His dismissive attitude annoys me. He must be the type to really get focused on his work, hating to be disturbed by anyone until he's done, I suppose. While we talk, the sound of Hanako's footstep as she walks out from behind me reminds that she's here. I was just going to help with the banner. Hanako and I, that is. Hello. Oh, hey, I guess that's okay. As, as soon as Hanako enters the equation, his demeanor takes a complete about face. His sudden Fox Hospital is slightly unsettling. Alright, woman, on second thoughts, this may not have been a great idea after all. Hanako and I grudgingly set ourselves down on the opposite side of the cloth banner to Kenji, noting the several small paintings on the ground around it. Class 3 to, noodle stall. You guys selling noodles at the festival on Sunday? Yeah, some stall outside or something. Or something, his non-committal nature sparks a fair of suspicion on my behalf. The task at hand comes first though. So how do you want to split this? We do borders while you do the text, or do you want to switch and do the borders? Text is mine, you do borders. He has surprisingly strong feelings on the topic. Siyempre, siya na nagsimula eh, kailangan niya matapos. At as I reach over to grab a brush, I notice Hanako's already debating between colors to use. By the time I've put brush to cloth, she's already started on delicate pattern. Looks like my idea of taking her mind of everyone around her work. With a dark blue stroke, the three of us get to work. The three of us silently get to work. Not before Kenji takes advantage of Hanako's working to lean towards me and whisper conspiratorially to, okay man, why you're here? Hanako just wanted some help to find Lily, that's all. He apparently disapproves of my motivations. I get it. It looks like I misjudged you. You're infiltrating them, aren't you? Going deep undercover? I guess I should have guessed letting the truth slip by him would probably be better than outright lying or annoying him in any case. Is that why you're here? Obviously it sucks, but there's no better way to get intel than going in yourself. We gotta stick together, man. This is a harsh school. A harsh world. Yes, very harsh. He missed my true meaning as he leans back, satisfied I'm sympathetic to his cause. I'd better get down to work. Finished. Looks like I am too. Good job. The two of us connect up the lines of our patterns, mine being as close a copy as I could manage of hers. With a grunt, I lever myself up from the floor and look around. Aside from Hanako and myself, there's only Kenji left finishing off a sign as well as Lily and couple of students talking among themselves in the classroom. Looking at my watch, it's no surprise it's getting pretty late. Need a hand? I offer hand to Hanako which she uses to get herself up. Bakit puro si Hanako? Gusto ko si Lily. Baka mali yung napuntahan kong route. Oh my god. Sana naman hindi. As she does, I can't help but glance at her wrist. If her scars extend even to there, just how much of her body was burned. I feel a pang of guilt about it, however, she quickly covers her wrist with her other hand. Looks good, doesn't it? She looks surprised for a moment before noticing that I'm in the matter. It does, I guess. Her smile shows that she feels a slight sense of pride in the result, just as I do. With the floor significantly neater for the decorations being placed on desk and shelves, it's much easier to get to Lily as we cross the room. We finished the banner. I guess that's all that needs to be done. Lily gives an appreciative nod. Oh my god, lumalapit sa akin yung ano, damot. Don't come near me. Or I will use my my super techniques. Thank you, Hisaw Hanako. If there's any way I can thank you. It's fine, sitting in my room studying at any rate. I don't mind either. She nods before suddenly remembering one last person. Oh, is Kenji still here? Just as I open my mouth, Kenji gives the answer from the other side of the room. Yeah, just finished. He carefully slides his sign onto an empty section to shelf to dry before quickly walking past us and out the door. See ya, man. Bye. The remaining two students say their goodbyes to Lily before taking their cue to leaving as well, leaving only the three of us. Well, I guess that's everyone. I hope we don't have to do anything like that again. Working past school time. Indeed, the class plan this year was ambitious. Maybe too ambitious. The store looks nice though. She's right. It shows that a lot of work's gone into them. My. I'm sure a lot of us would be glad to hear that. At least now, there's not much work to do until the festival itself. It's getting pretty late. Should we go? That's probably a good idea. Are you going back to the dorms as well, Hisaw? Yeah, I guess I'll tag along. The nighttime lighting really makes the garden look quite different compared to the usual look of lush greenery. Things are much more calm. Being that it's so late, the lack of students around probably helps. The odd one or two can be seen scurrying to and from the dorms trying to eke, ek the most out of their approaching curfews, but no more. All that can be said is our footsteps, in addition to Lily's cane regularly gently tapping the ground in front of her. It's nice to finally be able to relax a bit after the mad rush during school. Without even noticing it, I let out a small yawn. Tired? Yeah, still getting used to the flow of things, I guess. The thing with Shizune took me kind of off guard though. I grit my teeth a little at the candid mention of their rather public spot. That said, I do want to sort out what in the world was behind it. About that, I'm sorry about it being so bad. Shizune and I go back some ways. Her voice seems slightly irritated as she remembers Shizune, obviously willing to discuss it any further. I glanced to Hanako for her views on this, but her expression is unsurprisingly evasive. Wait lang. Mali. I glanced to Hanako for her views on this, but her expression is unsurprisingly evasive and difficult to read. Either way, I guess her apology for it is something, even if my curiosity goes unanswered. I'll be glad once the final is over, in any case. The change of topics welcome, clearing the thickening air quickly. I can imagine my old school festival are a lot more low-key than this. Yamako stresses the idea of a school community, so the staff like to make our festival and such special occasion. Oh! And yet, the students are the one who do the work. What an unfair world. Hanako and Lily both chuckle in argument, savoring the fact that none of the staff are around to hear out grumbling. I suppose coming from a strict all-girls school helped me a bit with Yamako. Compared to their Yamako is much more relaxed. That go away toward explaining her well-bred speech and behavior in any case. What an Ejo-sama. Ojo-sama. Lily-sama. As we come up to the dorm, it eventually comes time to leave for our respective rooms. See you, Lily, Hanako. The two both give polite nods before setting off to the women's dorm, just next to the guys. As it to be expected of such an arrangement, there's a staff member casually patrolling around outside to prevent any nighttime shenanigans. Walking past him, I quickly stretch my arms and rub my neck, both quite sore after having worked on the floors for so long before walking to my room. It feels good to actually have direction though. After so long in the hospital, the everyday fuck of studying, homework, and teachers seems almost a blessing. I guess if things continue like this, my time at Yamako might turn out okay. Hey, you're fitting in, baby. Adhering to the nurse nagging voice in the back of my head, I set my alarm clock to wake me up early enough to go jogging again. I made a promise and I'm going to keep it. Besides, Emmy is bound to rat on me if I don't show up. But it's not all that bad. Hey! Hey, 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 hey! Whew. At doon na tayo. Let's save. Create new save state. Yes. Continue. Save. Tama. Lunch ito. Dito tayo. Sa exercise na tayo. Okay. Yun na yun lahat. Back mo na pala sa main menu. Okay, yes. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice na? Yeah. Nakita nyo to? Extras. Good shit. Gallery. Nice. Hoho. Library. Hoho. Akwan. Oh, may ganun. May mga, merong alam na ganun. Eh di nice. Edition. Cinema. Oho. Okay. Jukebox. Okay. Return. So, yun na yun. Pinag-exercise tayo. Nakilala natin yung iba pang girls. Si pangalan nun? Si Emmy, tsaka si Rin. Yun lang, 'di ba? Meron pa ba? Parang yun lang. Si Emmy tsaka si Rin nakilala natin. At you know, and we must, look forward look forward to the next part. Patagal na naman tayo. 2 hours. 2 hours malala na naman. At least sana maayos na yung sound. Sana naman di na ako na tatabunan. At sana okay na naman ba yung okay na ba yung screen kung na-fit na ba. At yun na yun. Salamat sa pakikinig at panonood kahit wala naman talaga. I'm so lonely. Okay, off na tayo. Johnny, bye bye.